Broadleaf weeds in wheat, you know what? Even I've got a few out here in my field. So the question is, what am I gonna do about all these broadleaf weeds? We wanted to talk about broadleaf weed control in wheat today.
Well, I thought this was gonna be a fun segment. All right, Mr. Wheat Farmer, what are you gonna do about your specific broadleaf weeds here?
Yep, well here's the biggest thing that I gotta tell you. First of all, it's not as simple as just going out and spraying Roundup in corn and beans. That's easy. Everybody wants simple, use the same product in every field. You can't do that in wheat. You're gonna have to use some different products if you have a different weed spectrum. Now, it might all work out fine. Maybe you only have Canada thistle. It's the only weed you have in your whole farm, every single field. Great, but usually it doesn't work out that way. So let's start with the three big ones, the three most popular base products in wheat: Husky, Wide Match, and Wolfpack.
All right, well, let's start with Wide Match, because one of those weeds that we've already mentioned is Canada thistle. And if you've got it, it's a huge yield robber. You have to wipe that out. So if you've got quite a few thistle out there, or maybe you've just got some good-sized patches in certain fields, make sure you think about that particular weed and do a good job. And the product that you want to use is absolutely Wide Match. And the reason why is Wide Match is two things. It's Star Ain, which is great on kochia, and Stinger, which is outstanding on Canada thistle. There is no question this is the best product on the market for wheat when you've got some Canada thistle out in your field.
Wide Match is a great product. It seems like just about everybody's using some Wide Match now on their farms. I think it's the most popular broadleaf herbicide in wheat today, because Canada thistle is a terrible problem, so is kochia. But the trouble is, a lot of guys have more problems than that. So you may, on your farm, need to tank mix in something else. If you've got wild buckwheat, if you have, heck, even lamb's quarters or mustard and stuff like that, you might want to throw in a little 2,4-D or one of the DuPont products. We haven't talked about those yet, so maybe you throw in a little Harmony or Affinity or Express or Finesse or one of these other products. There are other things out there that you can tank mix with Wide Match.
We've got things that are ALS inhibitors or sulfonylurea products like the DuPont products are. They aren't going to get everything because there are some weed species that are resistant to those chemical families. So you do need to mix. And if you were just spraying, say, an Affinity product, you're probably mixing some 2,4-D with it if you aren't mixing it with a Husky or a Wide Match or a Wolfpack.
Okay, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of 2,4-D on the wheat. I think it hurts the wheat yield. I'm not saying a lot, but it's just another added stress. And why add more stress to the crop when you can use something that's safer like Wide Match or Husky?
Well, I'm just thinking, when we were growing up, that's all there was. I mean, there weren't that many products 30 years ago.
Right.
And so guys got into, okay, well, I can do this, and it does do a good job killing the weeds. There's no doubt about it. You can kill weeds with 2,4-D, but gosh, how much do you want to hurt that crop? You want to use something that's a little bit safer. So let's talk about Husky just a little bit.
Yeah, Husky is a combination of Buctril and a product that's similar to Callisto in corn. Okay, there isn't a straight product like that in wheat, so I can't tell you, oh, it's this product, but it's very similar to Callisto. So you got Buctril Callisto mix. Well, that really works out pretty good, because I think of Callisto that we use in corn. It's great on just about every weed except for buckwheat. Well, what's Buctril the strongest on? Well, buckwheat. So it makes a pretty good fit. The nice thing with the Husky is it is very safe to the wheat, but you need to have kind of warmer temperatures to make it work, and that's where we ran into a few problems last year.
Well, when it gets a little bit cooler in the year, and it was cooler a little bit earlier this year, some of the first guys getting out there, it wasn't working quite as good as what they wanted. So what do? They added in some MCP ester at like half a pint. Now that does certainly help heat it up a little bit. And at that point you say, man, I'm so early in the year. Am I really hurting things? You know, it's not this big thing. It's not like you're going to say, wow, I just took 20 bushels off my wheat. But again, it's a little bit of an added stress. What you can do when it's a little bit too cool is just wait a couple days. A lot of these products like Husky work pretty well, even if those weeds got 2 inches taller, as you had to wait 3 or 4 days for things to warm up just a little bit. Now, I want to say one more thing about safety, because there are some guys that get nervous when you say, I'm going to spray something that has Buctril in it on my wheat, because occasionally you'll see a little bit of leaf burn.
Yeah, the big thing is don't throw in old Lorsban insecticide. Don't throw in liquid fertilizer with it. That will heat it up even more. Buctril all by itself sometimes will burn some leaves, especially if you have other hot products with it like fertilizer or oils or something like that. So just be a little cautious on that side. But otherwise, Husky, that's got the little bit of Bucktrill in there, it is really safe to the wheat.
Okay, and then let's talk about Wolfpack just a little bit. Bucktrill and MCP
Yeah,
ester.
again, I just don't like that 2,4-D in there. Yeah, it's a pretty good product, pretty good base product, and it's cheap. So if you're just after cheap, then it's a pretty good way to go. It'll wipe out just about everything. It doesn't do a great job on kochia. It doesn't do a great job on Canada thistle, but it's okay on each one of them.
Well, one of those weeds that you really want to make sure to address is our weed of the week. We'll show you how to kill it later in the show.